What's the easiest choice you can make? Window instead of middle seat? Picking a vendor who sends a great gift basket? Outsourcing business tasks you hate? What about selling with Shopify? Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the launch your online shop stage to the first real-life store stage, all the way to the did we just hit a million orders stage. Shopify's there to help you grow. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell. Wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/try. Go to shopify.com/try now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/try.
Fala aí, galera. This is Roberto, aka Sunspot, and you're listening to Adventures in Collecting.
Are you ready, kids? Get your parents' permission, check your mailbox, and grab your shopping cart. It's time for the Adventures in Collecting podcast.
I'm Eric.
And I'm Dave. Welcome to Adventures in Collecting, where we talk toy news, culture, and hauls,
along with our journeys as collectors.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Adventures in Collecting.
Hi.
That's right. I should have had you read the intro this time. Jeez.
Yeah, I'm sitting here like pointing at Joe. Joe, you do it. You do it.
It's not usual that we have voice of the pod. Our mysterious voice behind the curtain, man behind the curtain, Joe is joining us for this very special episode of Adventures in Collecting. Joe,
I had to be here,
and it's especially with the voice relevancy of the.
Yeah, it's not every day that we get to interview a voice actor. So we have to have our resident voice actor on board for said experience, right? That's the
absolutely.
Sense.
I mean, I could throw it out there. Are you ready, kids?
Perfect.
Yes.
Everyone's gonna think the episode just started over from the beginning.
Yeah,
really.
Like Eric, did one of those leads that you've unburied just come back to haunt us? Or
ooh, haunted leads? No, but like you. I don't know why I said that like Homer.
Yeah, that was very.
Leads. But I will not be burying the lead this time. It's a very exciting time for toy collectors and kind of people, especially in the Marvel fandom right now. X-Men 97. Guys, have you ever heard of it? Is that something?
I'm familiar.
Yeah. A continuation of the original X-Men series that originally wrapped in 1997 after 5 seasons. X-Men 97's first of what we can only hope will be many seasons is quite literally lighting the Marvel fandom on fire with episode after episode of some of the finest weekly TV storytelling we've seen in a long time. Ahead of the much-anticipated season finale this week, we are thrilled to welcome this episode's guest, the voice of Roberto da Costa, a.k.a. Sunspot himself, Guy Agustini. Guy, welcome to Adventures in Collecting.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for having me. This is so exciting. You guys have incredible voices. I hear already, and I'm so happy to join and to know that. It's one of the first, or maybe the first of the cast members, and it's super special.
Yeah, we do have a little bit of a through line to X-Men the animated series. We did have at one point we had the original voice of Gambit on the show. Going way back, friend of the pod, Tony. He was quite a guest. That was our last voice actor guest. So it's been a while. But
not for any reason, by the way.
Yeah,
we don't want anybody to. Yeah, that's just how it just happened to be that way.
Yeah, but we're super excited to have you and super excited to chat. So before we get into all of the super cool X-Men 97 stories, the first thing that we ask all of our guests, what are you currently collecting, and what are some of your recent pickups?
Right. That makes sense. Adventures in collecting. Anyway, but no, look, I'm not a huge collector. It's the truth. But obviously, since joining this incredible fandom and universe world, I've been collecting the Funkos. The 8-bit ones from episode 4. Obviously, first I got Roberto, because it took me a little while. Everybody was like so excited. Some of my friends showing it to me, and I couldn't find it on Target, and I had to go online and stuff like that. And then I finally got Jubilee and Mojo, which I just bought. I just bought it today. Got it today, literally. So that's mainly what I'm collecting. And I mean, I'd say some of the comic books. I'm getting, a friend of mine got it for me, the first appearance of Sunspot in 1982, the New Mutants. So I have a couple other ones, and so yeah, little by little, I'm collecting things that are Sunspot, X-Men 97, or X-Men related.
That's cool. Have you had the
very
opportunity to sign any of them yet? Like, have you been at any events where people have brought stuff for you to sign?
Yes, I did. I did my first signing this past weekend at Free Comic Book Day, and that was really awesome. And I did my first Funko signing, and some of the comic books and pictures, photos. It's been really cool. But also, like, at every week, I've been joining the LA screening that has been happening for each episode on Wednesdays at Scum and Villainy, and people have brought stuff. They know I'm there every week, and it's been super cool, like big posters and smaller posters, and he actually did yesterday a Funko as well. So getting better, I'm getting better. I'm learning the whole thing.
Very cool. Yeah, those 8-bit Funkos
cool.
are really cool. It's really,
and that was
cool
a great
to see.
episode too. That was a cool little thing that they turned it around to.
Oh yeah, with the video game, yeah, it was super cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One of my favorite episodes.
Oh,
I would say one of mine as well.
Definitely.
Wow.
Yeah, seeing that art style of the beat 'em up, what was it, Acclaim, Konami, right?
It was like Konami,
yeah. The beat 'em up arcade cabinet, seeing that
come
to life on screen, and just we'll get into it later, but the dynamic between Roberto and Jubilee this entire season has been awesome. So we'll definitely need to dive into that.
Awesome. Sure. Yeah. I'm so excited.
So before we get into X-Men 97, Guy, tell us about how your background in tennis got you into acting.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So I grew up with tennis. I was never in the arts in Brazil, and I wanted to be a professional tennis player. And I traveled, a lot in my teens, playing internationally in South America. I lived in France, played there for a bit. Actually came to the United States for the first time when I was 14 to train in Florida, and then I went back again. So I was, I graduated high school. I was playing some professional tournaments, trying, to get into the tour. But, I wasn't at that level at all. So then I went to Venezuela to play some professional tournaments. I had met, Chucho, we call him Chucho, and he's like my young brother now. And I stayed with his family for the second time, and then I met his coach, and his coach became my coach and changed my life. He's a second dad to me, and I stayed there for 2 years before getting a tennis scholarship to come to the U.S. I went to South Carolina in a university called Lander in Greenwood, which is close to Greenville, and it was in Venezuela the last 6 months that I found acting, and it came through modeling. I started modeling, and booked a few gigs. My first audition actually for a print campaign I booked, and so it was cool. I was like making money, having fun, just like smiling and meeting people. And then I went to a Subway commercial because they paid more money, and it was my first time having to act, and it was a horrible experience. It was so bad. I had to improvise. It was really awful. And so I left that audition. I called my agent and I asked him to recommend me an acting school, an acting teacher. I thought it was something super simple. Coming from tennis and being so into like technique, and my coach there like really revolutionized everything for me in terms of technicalities of like the technique of tennis. So it's like I just somebody who I can just learn this technique quick, or some whatever, and so I can go in and book these commercials because they pay more money. And she sent me to this woman who had trained the actor studio in New York. There's actually a video of her asking a question to Bradley. No, it wasn't Bradley Cooper. It's Bradley Cooper has one that he asked Al Pacino. I think it was Robert De Niro. No, I forget. I think it was Sean Penn. And when they had the clips of like the inside the actor studios, and so anyway, so she was teaching the method and all that stuff, and she was only working with professional actors in Venezuela, and I begged her to let me take the class because I observed, but I was very honest with her. I was like, look, I'm a tennis player. I just want to take some lessons. I'm here for another like 2 months, I think, or 3 months. And so she didn't want me she didn't want me to join at first, and so I begged her. So like, you tell me what to do, I'll do it, And so that's how it began, and I fell in love with it. I read my first Shakespeare play. I then joined another acting school through somebody who was very well known in Venezuela, and that school like had trained a lot of the television actors in Venezuela. So I had an exposition to a little bit of a different methodology, and yeah, so then when I came to the U.S., fortunately for me, Lander had a theater program because I was just going to study business. I didn't know what else I was going to do. I wanted to be a tennis player. There's nothing else in my heart, in my plans, and so I remember getting there, and the first thing was to see if they had. I didn't even know how to look online, I think, and I was just like, do they have like a theater program? They did, and they had a beautiful theater. I remember walking in. I'm like, it was a huge, like 500, I think 500 seat theater, and I was like, man, I just wish I could because I had never been in a play. I had like done those classes, but I had never performed. And so I remember just closing my eyes and like, oh, it'd be so dreamy to like be on that stage. And lo and behold, a few months later, I was cast in the first place I've ever done through the teacher there, Monique Bagwell, who, yeah, it was like cast me in my first play ever, and it was called Picnic by William Inges. There's a movie with William Holden in 1950. It was a very classical thing, and I played the lead. I played Hal, and that's how it all began. It's kind of weird how it all happened, but timing and all of that. And I believe so much in the universe and all these things. And I think I always had, through like my last years of therapy, I realized that I think it was always in me, and I don't blame my parents at all. They were very supportive of everything, but I think they never really, Brazil is not, if you don't come from like family who like are in the arts. And then my dad, like, I play guitar, I play instruments because of my dad, and in sports, like, but it's not a thing like it is here, more accessible. You can't do like theater in high school. You can't, like, those things don't really happen in Brazil. You have to really go to a specific school. And so I was always, as a kid, so like I've always liked to play a lot, and with not only like superhero stuff, and role play, but just like, yeah, all kinds of stuff, because I love movies, and so my dad watched a lot of movies, and that was a lot of the influence, and I always wanted to like act in a way without even knowing. But yeah, that was a journey.
Well, like you said, I mean, being a tennis player and being so focused on technique, and like even the stage of performing and competing, in tennis, you're performing in front of an audience, so there's always way more connective tissue between the arts and athletics than I think a lot of people realize. And it's cool to hear you draw those parallels between focusing on the craft of tennis, and then kind of taking that same mindset and like, wait, this is how I got so good at this, now I need to apply it to a new art form,
Yeah, that's very interesting, Erica. It's like I never really thought like so much in that way, and I've heard some of my big idols like Roger Federer and stuff like they talk about we're performing in front of an audience too. They like the obviously to be in center court and have people all those things that we feel when we were like, especially in theater with live audiences or whatever when you perform to a live audience. But to me, it was more like everything that I learned through the dedication, the commitment, the passion that it requires to get better at a sport, at the level that I wanted to play. I think that to me was the number one key and what like really like this connective tissue, as you mentioned, that was like so important for me.
Totally. That's awesome. I mean, with that in regards to, how you got started in acting, how did the opportunity to work on X-Men 97 actually come your way?
So I mean that was like through my agency, through like a regular audition. But the way I started in voiceover was also, always like through back doors. I guess it's always been like my life in a way. Is like things that were not. It's always I've been very intentional about what what I do and what I've been doing, but the opportunities often have risen for me in a very unexpected way. So I had created this voiceover demo reel in Florida before I moved to New York to attend an acting conservatory because an agent there that I was working with said, look, if you want to try to get represented by CSD that she had worked for, which is a big agency here in the US, it'd be better for you because I speak different languages to have a demo reel for voiceover. And I did. And so that helped me get on the roster of CSD in the commercial on camera department and the voiceover department. So I started to audition for a lot of voiceover, commercial voiceover. I've been trying to remember, maybe I auditioned for a couple like animation stuff while I was in New York, but it was never a lot, some trailer things, some promo things. There's a lot of commercials, and then I booked a few things here and there. So that was like my first exposition to voiceover. And then when I moved to Los Angeles, I switched the coasts, and here in LA, I guess there's just so much more exposition to animation and stuff. So I started to audition for more animation projects. But I think even before I started auditioning, because I tried to move here in 2020, like in the fall, and I did my first only animation course with Voice Masters that I had never done, and because it was a friend of a friend who like ran it and did was one of the teachers, I joined. I did a 4-week course. It was awesome. It was a blast, and I learned a few different things. And then I started to audition because then I really got it on the roster of the LA department. And so, yeah, that's how it came about. Like I just, I've been saying this, which is the truth, that I did not know it was X-Men 97. Did not know Roberto da Costa by that name, or even like Sunspot, because he wasn't in the original animated series, and I was not very into the comics. So it did say Roberto da Costa, but I didn't know. So I just thought it was an animation project. And I auditioned twice. I auditioned at the end of 2021. Like most auditions, I don't hear anything back. There's no feedback or anything. So I just forgot. I just sent it out, and then I received pretty much the same audition. Maybe the sides were a little bit different, but I remember questioning like, oh, the only thing was different was in parentheses they wrote Elijah, and then I sent it in again. It was like March or April 2022. So it was like a few months later, and then 2 months later, I got the email from my agents saying that I had booked it. So it said, "Congratulations, Guy, you're going to be a superhero." I was like, "What?" I was super surprised. I didn't know what I had auditioned for, which superhero. I had no clue. So yeah.
So you mentioned a little bit about not knowing who the particular character was going into it, but did you have any prior familiarity with X-Men? Like, were they like a a touch point of your childhood at all? Because I know we're all kind of similar age, and that original animated series and like the especially the comic run in the 90s was just so kind of ever present for everywhere.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I was. I watched. I can't remember if I started watching in 92. I was very young, but I definitely watched it. And as a kid, and I think I still have my Wolverine action figure. I'm so excited to go back home this year to see if I find it, if it's there. But yes, that was my introduction to the X-Men. And then I watched all the movies because I was, a big X-Men fan, and then Wolverine was my favorite character, together with Gambit. People have asked me, and I've always loved Gambit, but Wolverine was always my number one. And so, especially with the movies, I watched that a lot. And I didn't even know like it had been announced. I wasn't following. I didn't get the information, So I had no clue about X-Men 97 until I got that email.
Well,
that I booked. Yeah.
I think Sunspot in general was kind of a surprise to everyone. Like, I don't think that was part of the announcement. Like, it wasn't until they started showing the initial trailers and people saw Roberto, like, not, obviously not powered up or anything, and we're trying to like connect the dots, like, oh, new character, who is this? And like,
right.
And then obviously that first episode when he's kidnapped, everyone's like, oh,
okay. Right. No, for sure, for fans and everything, like like everything Marvel, they kept it so closed information. So there was actually, I don't know if you guys knew this, but last year, the end of last year, there was a leak on like who was playing what and whatever. So there was some articles coming out talking about like.
Yeah.
Sunspot and all this stuff, but they had a much more negative connotation on the whole thing. So
yeah, it ended up working itself out the right way.
Yes, thankfully.
So what's it like getting to play a character that shares a similar Brazilian heritage as yours?
I mean, it's so special. It's really special, Dave. I'm super honored. That's what I've been saying so much. I'm so honored to be representing Brazil in this way. But more than that, I've realized since it started, it's not just Brazil. It's the whole Latino community. It's the whole like Latin, community, and I also been saying this, like, it's been so surprising to me. I didn't expect to have such big of an impact, and people reaching out to me about like, it's so awesome to see, first like a Latino being part of the X-Men and this whole representation. It's just so wonderful, so beautiful, and I'm so grateful to have been the chosen one, and I don't take it for granted, and I'm so grateful every day, every week. It's just been such a high since it all started. But it was just very special.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that Motendo episode, and when Roberto and Jubilee are kind of at each other's throats after getting pulled in, and you get to rip into that like whole section where he's just yelling in Portuguese, and she's like, totally, I have no idea what you said, but like totally get the vibe.
Yeah.
That kind of thing is impossible without somebody like you that could do that so naturally and just kind of just drop right into that and kind of nail it.
Yeah, no, for sure. And those expressions were very Brazilian. And somebody had asked me like how much, of liberty with the text have I had, and especially with the Brazilian stuff. I'm like, look, the script is so good. It's so like, I'm not ad-libbing anything. I'm not, doing anything that's not there. But as far as the Brazilian words, there was only the word mother was a big change, because he used to be written as mamãe, and mamãe is like, it's like mother. It's not even mother. It's just like it's a very childish way of saying mom. And so, because they were telling me in my first session, like, this is a more mature version. Like, we want a more mature version of Roberto, the whole thing. And so I was like, yeah, I mean, even like teenagers very rarely will call their mothers mamãe. It's just very like, you have to be super young. So I just said, mine is what we say. So that was the only thing that was a big input that I wanted to like make sure we had. And obviously they were super open about that. And there was a couple expressions that I think I tried. I can't remember, and especially, in that episode, if it was something that I kind of changed or gave a different option, or if it was what was written on the script. And I found out recently the reason why it was so good, because those expressions some of them are very like Brazilian, and so Bo has been attending some of the screenings at Scum and Villainy, and so he shared with me that he has one of his really good friends is Brazilian, and so he would ask him, how do you say this in Brazil? And so that's why the expressions were so good.
That's awesome.
And that totally makes sense too, because everything
great.
Everything we've seen about Bo, talking about Bo for a moment, he's just so in tune with the not just the X-Men community, but just kind of this like multicultural swath of
100%.
humanity.
Yeah.
He is in it. Watching him live tweet along with the episodes is just, it's fascinating. It's such incredible insight. It's clear that like this is part of his DNA, and
Part of his DNA. It really is, Eric.
You can see it every week. It's incredible.
I mean, he's such a fan. He knows about it so much, and he shared recently too that I think the first script that he wrote in, I think it was a screenwriting course or university or something. It was X-Men related, and I think it was Fatal Attractions, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, that was his or thesis or something. So. Yeah, makes sense.
No bones about it.
Really?
Yeah, had to go there.
All right. I'll give it to you. Yeah,
we accept.
Okay. Definitely accept you on that one. Anyway, now that we got the dad joke out of the way, Roberto and Jubilee's relationship and Roberto's relationship with his mom have been two of the most compelling of the series. Was it challenging capturing all the nuances in order to bring them to life?
Look, I think that everything has been challenging for me at one level, and at the same time, it's been so wonderful because, in terms of being a little bit easier than when people have asked me about on camera, is because you have the luxury of repeating that line and those things in many different times and different ways. So, and I've been saying this as well, I'm trusting so much the vision that they have, right? Because I know very little. I'm there, I know my scene, I read my scene and stuff, but they have the bigger picture. There's many episodes that I don't even know what's going on because I don't get the script, and so I think for me, the biggest challenge in this first season was the whole accent thing, because I started recording with a much thicker Brazilian accent. I mean, this is the way I speak. I sound much more neutral American these days than anything else, and so I wanted to pay homage, or just Roberto is Brazilian, but they wanted something, I can only do something a little bit, more exaggerated. It's too thick. So the sounds are not very, what's the word? It's not very nice to hear, I guess, for the American ear, in general. And so they wanted me to tone it down. I was like, so then I was like, I had done my research and stuff, but it didn't hit me until a little bit later. I was like, his mom, which in this version, I think they had some liberties and changed a little bit, but in the comics, his mom is American, right, and white American, and so I'm like, it makes sense that he doesn't need to have an accent. He grew up with both languages, like I did, right? So there's so many people like that is bilingual, and there's I related so much with Roberto in that intercultural family and speaking different languages. So it was like, I don't need to do that, so I'm going to drop it. But I did that halfway through or something, so I was so nervous. But it worked because I went back and I redid some of with those episodes and doing ADR and all this stuff. But also like there are some moments that you can hear. I at least can. I don't know, but yeah, it's very clear to me when like, oh wow, this is from like an earlier read. But I think it's cool because there's it doesn't have to be like fully on. Like there's moments that there's a Brazilian little feel, a little bit of an accent, comes in. But yeah, I mean, the rest is just like there's so much time to play and to explore, and that's the beauty of it. So I think it's just like it was challenging in that way. Once I set with like, oh, this, so then I just get to play. I really like towards the end, I felt like that confidence, and I can't remember like when I recorded those episodes, but it was just like every time I'm there to do those moments and doing my best to like tap with my personal experiences and also what's needed there in the moment, and what they're asking me to do, if I have to do more or whatever, in terms of intensity, in terms of volume, all these things, because they know better obviously with the animatics and stuff like that.
It's interesting you mentioned the factor of the kind of the thickness of the accent, because I did pick up a couple of times that like, oh, the accent's a little bit stronger here in parts, but I honestly, like, you should have taken full credit for that, because it reminds me of anyone that I knew growing up that was bilingual or multilingual, that like when situations got like intense or like they got really excited, they tend to kind of gear back towards
Yeah.
their native
Yeah.
their native tongue, because that's where they're comfortable. Like that's like the the first language that they speak. So when the situation starts to get intense, that's usually where the accent starts to come back in. So I thought you were doing that totally intentionally.
Awesome. But that makes sense. It's true though. I mean, it used to happen with me a lot. I guess now I just every time a little less because I've been here so long and working on it for years. But it's so true. It's so true. And so when I had the realization, I was like, that's what I wanted to like lean on, because I know it's happened to me, and like you said, it happens to some people, So yeah.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
This segment is brought to you by our friends at Chubsy Wubsy Toys. A traditional mom-and-pop toy store in Little Falls, New Jersey, Chubsy Wubsy Toys brings you the best new toys from the brands you love without the hassle of pounding the pavement searching for them at larger retail stores. Visit them in person at their brand new home at 101 Newark Pompton Turnpike, Suite 1 in Little Falls, New Jersey, or online at chubsywubsy.com. That's CHUBZZYWUBZZY.com. And tell them Adventures in Collecting sent you.
And now, back to the show.
So, the X-Men animated series was very important to a generation of kids. And revisiting it over 30 years later, it's just as impactful now as it was then. What's it like being part of what could be considered, and I would say still is considered, a cultural phenomenon?
It's surreal. It really is surreal. It's the word that comes to mind, because like you said, all of us grew up with it and grew up loving it, and now just like we never even had like dreamed of that possibility, and now being part of it's just quite surreal. And now getting to experience this, the whole fandom thing and the family that has been created has just been so special, so wonderful. I've been saying this again from the get when I went to the premiere. Everybody's so nice. Everybody loves these characters, this world, this universe, and everybody knows each other, and they have for like years, and it's so wonderful. I've been received with open arms and open hearts, and I'm super grateful. It's been such a wonderful experience, and yeah, I couldn't be happier and more proud.
Well, just wait until hopefully you start getting on the con schedules and you start doing
Well, I am. I'm doing my first con appearance here in Ontario, California on May 19th. at Comic-Con Revolution. So that's going to be my first one. It's Saturday and Sunday, but I'm only going to be there on Sunday. I just posted about it on my Instagram. There's, some of us will be joining, and there's going to be a panel as well. I went to WonderCon a few weeks ago, but just part of the panel, but it was also wonderful. It was my first con ever. I had never been to a con before. So it was really cool to experience WonderCon. That I heard it's a mid-size, like it's big, but it's not obviously San Diego or some of the other bigger ones. So it was super cool, and the panel there was insane. I was so nervous. So I have that one coming up, and I have a few more lined up, throughout the year. So yeah, I'm super excited about that as well.
Yeah, just wait, man. You'll be taking pictures with all the cosplayers, in their Roberto.
I cannot wait to see.
They'll find that out. They'll either find the pieces to make that outfit, or they'll just make it straight up themselves.
Yeah.
Now that you're part of this kind of like X family, you get to start to experience all of like the best parts of the fandoms, and
it's like,
soak it in, man.
It's multi-tiered too, because it's the Disney part too. So like D23 is on the table. Like there's so many different.
Yeah, we'll see about that. I've been hearing many different things. It's like I don't know if they're gonna have us there, and even like San Diego, I don't know if they're gonna, because I guess because of Disney, kind of like I guess none of the properties are in San Diego, right? So I'm so new to it all, so I don't know what's going to happen. But I really hope that I can go be a part of it. There's a panel or something. But I'm super excited to see like who rocks like now like a version of Sunspot, because I became good friends now with JT. JT at WonderCon dressed up as Roberto. We met at the premiere, and he had already planned to do Roberto before meeting me. It was so awesome. And so he found like a jacket that, was a little similar and stuff. And so I think it was the first one. And I did a giveaway shirt. I did a contest for a Roberto giveaway shirt that I signed, and he won. Like randomly won. It was so awesome. I loved it. And then somebody recently, I forget his name, but on Instagram, he does a lot of cool cosplays, but he built like the Roberto really similar, like the same colors and everything, with the jacket, the pants, and then he photoshopped his arm with a little bit of fire, so it was pretty cool. Yeah,
very cool.
So speaking of the best parts of the fandom, let's talk about toys. So far from the show, we've gotten Cyclops, we've got Wolverine, Jean, Magneto, Executioner, Nightcrawler, Goblin Queen, Gambit, Bishop, Rogue, and Storm in Marvel Legends form. So 6-inch super articulated figures. Usually you get about 6 figures per wave when it comes to this. So make your pitch to the team at Hasbro. Who should be in the next wave of figures?
Please, come on, bring on Roberto Sunspot. I've been dying to see that. People have been telling me about it. And I just found out recently, I don't know if you guys saw, I think there's an article or something, that they're not coming, the third wave is not happening until next year. Everybody was having a lot of expectations about 2024, third wave. But yeah, I read that. I was a little bummed, but yeah, I get it. It is what it is. But I do hope that, I didn't know that was, you said 6, usually 6 in each wave?
Usually 6 per wave, yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I hope he makes that. I know there's Morph missing, Jubilee. I mean, there's so many more, but I hope that Roberto's included with, those other ones. We need to have them.
Yeah, I mean, and really, you've got, Magneto's been featured twice already, because we got Magneto in the classic villain look, and then we got Magneto in the good guy. I like to say babyface M.
Right.
But Roberto and Sunspot, you got 2 opportunities for figures there, man. You got the depowered Roberto figure.
Yeah.
I mean, they can do stuff like an arm that comes off, and like a swappable arm that's like kind of like
right.
And then now that you've in the next to last episode of the season, now that we've seen Sunspot in his blue and yellows, you got 2 opportunities there for a figure.
Hear me out.
Okay.
Jubilee Roberto 2-pack with Mojo in an arcade cabinet.
Oh, wow.
That's got con
That's-
exclusive written all over
That's
it.
yeah, that's an exclusive right there.
That is an iconic exclusive. Yeah.
The
Come
only
on, let's get it.
the only thing you have going against you on that is Mojo was last year's Mojo,
Yeah.
the Mojo World TV with Long Shot and
That's true.
Dazzler.
What was that? What was that?
So last year for
San Diego,
San
right?
Diego Comic-Con, I believe it was either San Diego Comic-Con or it was Hasbro's like PulseCon event, which kind of happens around the same time. They had a special edition 3-pack, and it was Mojo. It came in. The box looked like a giant like old TV set. And it was Mojo, Dazzler, and Long Shot were the 3 figures that were packed in there. So,
wow.
Yeah, it was
set up online. I've never seen or I didn't know about it.
I'll send you a link when we're done, because you can actually still get it. It's on Amazon.
Okay.
It's still pretty much readily available. But
Cool.
I maybe not now after the show, after the episode, it might have gone a little haywire. But but it's been a while since we've gotten a Sunspot figure. I think the last one we got was like an X-Force looking Sunspot, like the blue and red.
Yeah, I got 2 of those. I was gifted 2 of those.
There you go. That's his most recent one. So it would be awesome to get new looks for, Jubilee's got 2 new looks in the show already. We haven't had a Beast figure yet from we've never had an animated style Beast, so that would be great.
Wow, really?
They put out a Beast figure maybe 2 years ago, in like the classic look, but the face is more of like the comic look. It doesn't have kind of that wide,
animated,
like animated Beast look. So
okay.
there are definitely some characters from this season that could fill out another wave, and like friend of the pod.
You could probably easily get 2.
Yeah, I mean Xavier. There's Cable, Forge.
Yeah.
Warbird. I mean, there are so many options from the season. But like Dan from the Hasbro team said, they planned 2 years out. So the 2 waves that we got from X-Men 97. I mean, that's something that was 18 to 24 months in planning.
Wow.
It takes a while to get the figures made. Unfortunately, like the logistics side of the toy industry, right? We've gone into detail with them on the show in the past. So the good news is now you're not working off of potential like storyboard and concept art. They know exactly.
They know how to go. Right.
And they can be 100%
and what he looks like in the suit and all that. Yeah,
exactly, screen accurate. So sometimes, as frustrating as it is, waiting is sometimes better. So
better, yeah. No, good point.
All right, so it is now time for our follower Q&A. Dave, why don't you tell our listeners, tell our new listeners and remind our returning listeners, how can they submit questions for our Q&A segment?
So, new listeners, old listeners, all listeners, when we announce a new guest, it will appear as a story on the Instagram. And the Instagram in question is at AIC_podcast. There will be a little spot where you can tap on it, and it'll say like, hey, do you have a question for our guest? And you can tap on it and type in a question, and then we see it, and we put it in this list. And, the only way you're going to see that story, though, is if you follow us. It's not, I found out it's not subscribing, it's following. So you have to follow us, and then when you'll see that story, it'll come up. And then there's all sorts of other cool stuff that you'll see, like news and giveaways, and when we go on vacation and find stuff, or when we just go to the store and find stuff. So you'll see all of that on the Instagram at AIC_podcast. So make sure you get on that, everybody.
That's awesome. Yes, everybody. Let's follow. Let's follow, not subscribe. That's for something else.
Get our terminologies all lined up here. So we have a total of 3 questions today from followers that we have picked the best 3 that came in. So Joe, do you want to read the first question?
Sure. So this question comes from @Matthew J. Falk. Is there a Marvel character you'd love Sunspot to interact with in the future?
Yes. So firstly, well, thank you, Matthew, and thanks to everybody who sent questions. I really appreciate. And yeah, so the one that I would love to see an interaction is Deathbird.
Awesome, great.
Which
very cool.
Which I didn't even know that she was showing up in this version. See, I guess I didn't. I think Roberto is not on that episode, and so I never got that episode. So I didn't even know. And when people have asked me, like when I was recording, I was sent some of the issues of New Mutants, and so for Bo sent it to me to get more research and stuff like that. And my favorite part is with Roberto and Deathbird, and it's so funny. And yeah, so that would be the one.
Well, she's gonna have to take a visit to the Milky Way ghetto.
Yeah. Exactly.
Which, by the way, if Milky Way was that Mars, right? That's Mars, or no? Is that Hershey? Who does Milky Way?
No, it's Mars.
It's Mars, right? Yeah.
Right.
If Mars does not reach out to like Disney and Marvel and try to put out a ghetto Milky Way bar, that's a missed opportunity. Just saying it now. Missed opportunity. All right. The next question comes from the Nick Collectibles asks, if you were a mutant, Guy, what would be your superpower?
Oh, I haven't been asked that before. It's so hard. It's so hard.
Don't say you're not allowed to say an ace every time you serve. You're not allowed to say.
It's really hard because I think I can name 3 in a row like very fast. So I think I'll go firstly with like teletransporting, like like moving around like that. I think it'd be my first choice.
All right, why don't we all answer this one? Joe, what about you? What's your mutant power?
Really?
Yeah.
Completely caught off guard.
Good.
That's fun. That's what makes this fun.
I mean, psychic powers would be kind of fun.
Oh,
okay.
I would say that would be kind of fun.
Yeah.
It would be also, I don't know, it would be a little hard not to pull an Xavier from the last episode at certain times. Just
let me just get in there and
let's just reroute something in there for you. You've left me no choice.
No choice.
All right, I'll do mine. Mine, I got to go with my boy Hulk, and I got to say super strength. I'd have to go super strength. As I've said many times on the show, and sometimes get made fun of for saying it, I have 2 kids, and I talk about them endlessly. But like, I'd imagine super strength, like any superhero you've seen with super strength doesn't seem to get like real tired easily. So like, just to be able to like constantly pick them up, chase them around, move things out of the way, like just
no big deal.
Yeah, like that. That's what I would use it mostly for on the daily.
Nice.
Yeah, see, mine I'm looking at like practically as well, not because it's cool or anything, but just because like I'm starting to get to that point where like I wake up and something new hurts. So I'm going with healing.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, just stay away from the Weapon X program.
Yeah, it's like, what did I do yesterday? I don't know, but my elbow hurts for some reason. So
yeah, just remember, no grafting really strong metals to your chest.
just let it heal quickly. That's all. Like more like Deadpool.
Oh wow.
Fair. You do also like tacos, so that would go.
Yeah,
that would go very well with your.
I've been told I'm a bit of a wise guy too sometimes. So
Fair.
See, you guys gave me a now, it's going to be easier for me to say mine because now with the whole practicality thing, like thinking of like actually like my life, like as a geek makes total sense. I unconsciously chose like teletransfer because I just like to be in many different places. Like I can just go. So I'm always like feeling like I'm running behind or I'm late or something. So I can just poof, poof, just go.
Think about how many more gigs you could take if you could just, you don't have to sit in traffic.
I love it.
Dave, do you want to do our last question?
Yeah, I mean, of course. So, at end just beginning.
Oh, Abdi. Oh, thank you so much.
Oh,
yeah.
What's your inspiration that keeps you dedicated to pursuing your passion?
What's my inspiration? Wow. Yeah, I never thought of that. That's a very interesting question. I appreciate it. Now that he's always been so supportive, and I really appreciate her. I think at a core level, I'd say it's just like my drive to wanting to be better, to wanting to improve, wanting to grow. I think it's all correlated, in my career and in my personal life, because I believe so much um, in, in growth and in like self development, right? And so I think that's what it is. That's why I hustle so much. I try, I believe in like always doing your best. No matter what it is that you're doing, sometimes we do things we don't want to do, and it means to an end, whatever it is. Because I always would say like passion, but she mentioned like to maintain the passion, right? You gotta have passion. So, but it's true. Like sometimes it's hard to maintain it. But I think for me, it is that I want to get things done. I want to get better, better in my acting, better in my, now like in life, with people, relationships, and so yeah, I think that's what it is. I don't know. I think it was like very early. Again, I think because of tennis, um, it was like ingrained in me. I want to be able to like beat the other person. I want to be able to like do better shots, and that was always the drive. Committing to something fully. So yeah, I think that's what I'll say.
All right, and with that, we've reached the end of our Q&A segment. So thanks again to everybody.
Yeah, we did it.
Everybody
Thanks,
that submitted
everyone.
questions.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much.
So before we let you go and remind everybody where they can follow you and find you on the internet, we have a tradition here on Adventures in Collecting. Dave,
Of which, by the way, this is the first time there's been an inside the actor's studio reference in the episode before Eric does this.
Yeah, prior to this. So this is
wow.
This is fun. All right, so Dave, would you like to fulfill your role as this podcast's James Lipton and ask our final question?
Why, yes, I would.
Nice.
Our last question that we ask all of our guests. Guy, what is your favorite and/or strangest piece in your collection? It can be one of each, or it can be both.
That's a great one. I don't have anything strange. Like I said, I'm not a big collector, so I'm gonna go with my favorite one. And again, you guys heard I don't have many collecting things, but I'm gonna go with my 8-bit Funko, of Roberto because it's so nice, it's so special, obviously. But now I have of course, there's more, but I have the trio that I've been wanting to get, with Mojo and Jubilee, and I become really good friends with Holly, who voices Jubilee, and David Arrigo, also this amazing voice actor, and so fun. And we've been together at a few gatherings and screenings and stuff, and so I can't wait for them to sign, my Funkos, and I'll have that trio there displayed. So yeah, that's definitely my favorite.
And within reason. I mean, that's awesome.
Totally.
Obviously, that's so special. I mean, it's not only it's your first ever action figure of you. I mean, it's
Yeah.
that's bucket list.
Maybe once the actual legend, the action figure comes out, maybe I'll switch. But for now, I'll stick with the Funko. You know.
Fair.
What about you guys? I want to know you guys. One of each because you guys have so many, so I need to know.
Oh my goodness.
Wow, no one's ever, believe it or not, in all these episodes, no one said, so what's yours? Like,
Oh, well, here he goes.
All right.
Got Joe's like, for the listeners looking around. I mean, his room is like, it's so hard for him to pick.
Okay.
I'm not going first.
All right. I have favorite, and I'll give you my favorite right now. That changes
Yeah, of course.
pretty frequently.
That's fair.
So my favorite right now is it was speaking of Comic-Con earlier, it was last year's so 2023's San Diego Comic-Con exclusive from Super 7. They did an Art Adams, friend of the pod, Kyle Wadiga at Super 7, designed an Art Adams inspired Godzilla figure. And it is like right off the cover of, I'm blanking on the issue, but it's a Dark Horse Comics issue of Godzilla. And it's that bright green like color that Godzilla never was in the movies. He was only that color in the comics, and he's got like a bloody mouth, and he comes with a little like person that he can hold.
Wow.
It still is like if for going on a year now, it's easily my favorite action figure that I own. I'd grab it, but it's kind of currently buried behind some other stuff. But
Okay.
that's
awesome.
my favorite. Strangest. Jeez.
You guys put that question there. I wonder what would and then I want to know what have you guys heard as one of like the strangest thing.
We've got some stuff.
yeah, we got some good ones.
All right, strangest. I'm gonna go with this. So one of my favorite things is Gashapon machines. So Bandai has these they're almost like vending machines, but they're little like toys that you can build inside, but there's more than just kind of like your typical like throw a quarter in, get like a little sticky thing. Like they are like really intricate figures. And every time I go to the Gashapon store, and this one I can grab, every time I go anywhere where there's Gashapon, I always look for the realistic bugs and or lizards. And the last time I went, they had an entire Gashapon machine that was filled with praying mantises.
Oh wow!
So I just have this really ultra detailed. I don't even know what scale this would be for a bug, but like it
is very detailed. Yes,
super detailed, and I have a couple of like the bugs and lizards and stuff, and they're all just like gross and beautiful, and yeah, I love them. So I'm gonna go with that as my weirdest.
All right.
I guess I'll go because I actually have both things at my desk, and one of them's weird only just because it looks weird. But my favorite is my the first ever Marvel Legends I got, and it's an old one. It's a Toy Biz era one of Ghost Rider, who's my favorite character.
Wow, that's amazing.
And it's my favorite because for years Eric was like, "Don't get into Legends because it's going to be expensive." But I have like the perfect guardrails up for it, which is I only get Ghost Rider now. But it all started with my now fiance getting me that Ghost Rider.
So she
I believe it was for my birthday. Yeah, so
gifted to you. Nice.
And then the strangest thing is this little guy on my desk.
Oh, that's a fluffy one.
Yeah, and it's just this little kind of dollar store toy, and he used to glow. Oh, there he goes.
Oh, there he goes. Oh, awesome.
When you hit him, he glows.
Did Maddie get that for you?
Yeah, Eric's firstborn daughter got it for me for Christmas from the dollar store.
Oh, no, that's so special.
Yeah, but like... I don't know what equated, like, this is what I'm going to get Uncle Dave. It's so weird, and I love it. Like,
and I've got no insight on that. All I know is that she went to the dollar store to Christmas.
My mom.
Yeah, she went with Grandma,
mom.
And she told Grandma she wanted to go Christmas shopping. I gave her a budget. She went to the dollar store, and she
That's
She got
amazing.
toys. She got things for everybody. So
Yep.
That's so cute, man. That's awesome.
And that's he's on my desk. He's always been on my desk.
Awesome. Love it.
all right, Joe.
Joe?
After doing my survey of the room, I have a lot of favorites, but this is definitely one of my.
Ninja Turtle! Yes! Oh my god! It's Raphael?
Yeah, and that's my favorite turtle. My favorite turtle is Raphael, all time.
Yeah, I'm there with you. I was a big Ninja Turtle fan, and I think
cool but rude.
And for those who didn't were just listening, he has like a trench coat.
Oh yes, yeah, trench coat.
That's a
trench
movie.
coat, NECA movie. Raphael, definitely like one of the best.
Is that a Jose Canseco bat? Hope you can put money on it.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
Definitely one of my favorites. Obviously, like there's just a ton of stuff in here that's too hard to really pick a lot of the favorites. But Strangest, and these guys definitely know about my Strangest. I got really into the John Wick movies, right? Like, fantastic movies.
Yeah.
So I started collecting John Wick action figures. So now I have like a bunch of John Wicks, and I'm like, you know what? I need to commit to this bit. I now have an entire shelf of Keanu's. Oh, no. It's different versions of Keanu Reeves. I call it my Oops All Keanu's wall.
How many do you have?
So I have about 4 John Wicks. I've got a Neo from The Matrix. I've got him from Bill and Ted.
Oh, so literally the characters that Keanu has played.
Oh yeah. What else?
I didn't even know that those existed.
Joe, what are you building right now, buddy?
So I have a project I'm working on, a custom figure that they've never made a Keanu Reeves from Speed. So I had a 3D printer. I had a 3D printer make a head. I bought the bodies. I've got the different costumes from when he's plainclothes and when he's a cop. So now I'm going to have 2 of the only.
Are you
112
scale making it happen? Like, is that?
Yeah, no, yeah. They're just for me though. I'm not.
I get it, but like, the company creates it for you.
So I found a person who 3D prints heads for figures. So like usually for like Marvel Legends figures, they'll make special, different heads that have never come out. And I saw he had like a John Wick head, or he had like one from Constantine. And I'm like, I got a question for you. Can you cut the hair and make it younger?
Wow.
And make me a Jack Traven? And he was like,
that's wild.
I'm going to do that for you.
Wow. I thought you were going to say Shane Falco from The Replacements.
Oh, you got that one too.
I didn't. Okay, we're getting down a really big rabbit hole here.
And I have to. And then you need to get Keanu's Don Juan in Much Ado About Nothing.
There you go.
I also need Keanu from Dracula.
There you go. Yeah,
the lake house. You need the lake house.
And Keanu from the Paula Abdul music video.
From Hush Hush. Oh my goodness.
Yes, I've never met. There is this entire cottage industry in the toy world of people that make 3D printed heads for, because like any of the Marvel Legends figures,
you can. Oh wow! Oh, I didn't. Oh wow! I don't remember that. All of them.
Pretty much, especially the Marvel Legends ones. I mean, they're very customizable in that regard. So, like, I'm holding for the audience at home. I'm holding a Scarlet Spider Marvel Legends figure. So, like, the figure doesn't come with the Ben Reilly, unmasked head, but people out there, like these 3D printers and painters and artists, will make like unlicensed, not Ben Reilly heads and sell them, and you can you can get them unpainted, you can get them painted, however the particular artist and seller is working with it. But a lot of times with like a Marvel Legends figure, like you might have a character that's just in a business suit, it's just like a guy in a suit. So like people will make heads that look like the actors who have played James Bond throughout the years, or anything really. Like they make anything and everything, and including many Keanu Reeves style heads. So
he's showing a photo.
So yeah,
that's the custom Keanu head.
That's the Keanu. I see.
And then there are companies.
So if you want to gift somebody and get a photo of their face, you send it to the whatever, find the person, and they can create that for you.
If they're willing to do it.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, if they're willing to do it. I'm planning on getting a 3D printer at some point. So you let me know if you want to send me something. When I get the 3D printer, I'll
so
print
the 3D printer literally is you, but how do you get the shape of the head?
So you have to do some sculpting. There's a lot of
okay.
You do some sculpting within a program, and you got to make sure you get your dimensions right, all that, and then the printer will. It can take hours depending on what you're doing.
Okay.
Layer it and print it. You got to sand it, paint it. Well, depending on what kind of printer you have, you might not have to sand it, but
you got some goals there. All right.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I got some goals.
Love it.
Well, obviously, everyone listening, the season finale of X-Men 97 airs this week. If you are listening to this episode when it is brand new, and man, do we hope you are listening to it when it is brand new, airs on, it is the 13th of May as you're listening to this, and the season finale of X-Men 97 is on, Wednesday, May 15th.
The 15th.
So
in 2 days.
In 2 days. But Guy, outside of being able to hear you in that episode, please tell our audience, our listeners, where can they find you on Instagram, and what are you working on next? Where can they look for you next?
Sure, I'm at Guy Agustini. It's AGU Agustini, and it's GUI Guy 1. That's my handle on Twitter too. I'm not very active on Twitter. I mean, because of X-Men, because almost every week I've been trading number 1, so I go on Twitter too and repost some things, and Bo is very active there. So, but I'm very active on Instagram. So yeah, give me a follow and comment, share, say hello. I love to respond and communicate as much as I can. And next, so I don't have anything really coming up anymore. I was on an episode of a new TV show, CBS TV show called Elsbeth, and I played a professional tennis player. So I was very excited. This year has been so good to me. It's a short, sweet role, but it was super fun. Episode 5, it came out a couple weeks ago. The show is funny. It's great. They already got renewed for second season. And then I did a short film at the beginning of the year because I direct a lot too. I've been directing for 10 years. And I did this short called West Texas Home, but I shot here in California by Joshua Tree. And it's a beautiful, beautiful story. I did last week my second session of editing. I'm really excited. It's so special. It's so beautiful. I'm super, super proud. And so I hope that in a couple of months we have that done, and then we'll enter the next year film festival circuit. And I'm entering this year's with a short that I completed in New York at the end of 2021 called To the End. It's a New York story. It's, about the breakup of a relationship in a very toxic way. And so, yeah, it's a super cool project too. I hope that I get to premiere here in Los Angeles and New York soon. I'll share that on my social media. And those who can attend, it'd be lovely and to meet those who I haven't met personally yet. And then, the cons that I'll be joining. That's the main thing. Like I said, Comic-Con Revolution, May 19th. In June, I'm not sure yet what's going on. And then I know I have a couple coming up in August, but, I'll keep you guys posted as we go.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time, out of your schedule to chat with us tonight. It was an absolute pleasure. As we've all kind of expressed at this point, it has been an incredible season of television, and something that, we hope you're super proud of, because as fans, it's the best treatment on screen really we've ever had of X-Men. So it's really cool to talk to somebody that was a part of it.
No, thank you guys. Really, it was such a pleasure. It's been so special. It feels like, it's like, it doesn't even feel like it's been an hour already. It's like, it's so joyful, and you guys are so fun. And yeah, thank you so much. And I learned about the toy business. See, like, I didn't know, and I'm gonna get a little bit more into it again. I'm not bummed that I remember a couple of years ago with my mom, for years, because with my brother, we had a lot of stuff saved, and then, just started to like give stuff away, and we gave, all my toy, most of my toy, not everything, because it was like some, like, I don't remember. I have some displayed in my mom's house in Brazil, but I know I still have some in boxes, but not a lot, because I gave a lot away. So I just hope my Wolverine I did not give away. I don't think I did, but we'll see. We'll see.
Well, thanks again, and we hope Wolverine's waiting there for you.
Thank you so much.
Dave, you want to send us home?
Yeah, enjoy the season finale, everybody.
Thank you, dear listener, for hanging out with us today. Subscribe, rate, and review us wherever you listen, and then tell your friends to do it. Thanks also to Joe Azari, the golden voice behind our intro. Our music is Game Boy Horror by the Zombie Dandies. Find more about them both in our show notes.
Follow us on social media at AIC_podcast on Instagram and Twitter. Stop by and say hi, show us your toy hauls, and share your toy stories. Maybe we'll talk about it in a future episode.
Don't try this at home. Void where prohibited and some assembly required. Each sold separately, not a flying toy. Consult a physician if your toy run exceeds more than 4 hours.
This has been a non-productive media presentation. Executive producer Frank Hablawi. This program and many others like it on the Non-Productive Network is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial No Derivatives license. Please share it, but ask before trying to change it or sell it. For more information, visit non-productive.com.